Testing. Hello? 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 Is it working? I don't know if it's working. Let me find out if it's working. I'm going to use my phone and see if this is working. Oh! Okay. We're good. Give me just a second here. And I'm going to... I got to share this a couple places, and then I have to hit record on Audacity, and we'll get this done. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Okay. And yeah. Okay, that looks like it's good. I'm going to do my best. I got to get all my windows set up here. So, what I'm going to do is get myself set up here. Don't mind me. Okay, we're ready. And hello, everybody. It's Wednesday, February 27th, 2018. I am doing this episode 20 live on YouTube. This is the first time I've done this, so this is a little different for me. So if I stumble sometimes, it's because I might be reading the chat, and I might be looking up things on ESPN, of course. But I do have show notes, so I'm prepared. But welcome. As people come into the live feed, I will definitely acknowledge them, hopefully, if they say something. But this is something different that I'm not used to, and I'm thinking maybe it'll kind of help build some people listening to the show a little bit more. I don't know. We'll find out. But it is Wednesday, the 27th of February. We're almost into March, which means we're getting closer to baseball season. But the things we're going to talk about today on the show are we're going to talk about the AAF Week 3. We're going to talk about MLB Spring Training. I made great lists. My show notes are the best. Talk about Spring Training. I'm getting excited because the Mariners, so far so good, have looked halfway decent, and a lot of the young guys that I was mad that we traded for actually look somewhat decent, I think. So we'll see how that goes. And then we're going to talk about, of course, the NBA. I'm a big Nuggets and Blazers fan, which is weird because they play in the same conference, but I like both teams. So we'll talk about that. We'll see what is coming out of the Combine because it is Combine time in Indianapolis. And I know there's 2 Cougs at least in the Combine. There could be more, but the 2 main ones are Andre Dillard and Gardner Minshew. So yeah. But we'll get into those things. I'm working on watching this, but we'll see if anybody joins in. I was hoping a couple people would hop in here maybe, but we'll see what happens. So we'll just kind of start with what I usually start with, and that's football. We had week 3 of the AAF. I'm still garbage at picking teams in my buddy Treb or Trevin Pixley's Facebook group that he's got. I was terrible. I mean, I redeemed myself last week. I think I got 3 out of the 4 games right or something like that. I don't remember. I was 1 in something, and now I'm 3 in whatever. I forgot to look. I just kind of shut myself off because I'm at the very bottom of his list. So, but we'll look at this. So Salt Lake City gets their first win this week. They played the Hot Shots and won 23-15. So good for the Stallions. I do root for the Stallions. That is the team that I have decided, and I know that Trevin also roots for it. But they are the closest proximity to home. Back home at least, and And they have 2 former Idaho Vandal players, so automatically I'm going to root for that. We also had the Orlando Apollos beat the Memphis Express 21-17. We had the Birmingham Iron continue their 3-game win streak against the Atlanta Legends, 28-12. And then we had the San Antonio Commanders lose to the San Diego Fleet, 31-11. So the way the outlook is now, it is San Diego sitting at 2-1. We have Memphis sitting at 0-3, Orlando at 3-0, so they're another undefeated team. Salt Lake sits at 1-2, San Antonio sits at 1-2, Birmingham at 3-0, Atlanta 0-3, and Arizona at 2-1. I was kind of hoping that the Legends would do a little better, but I do like their uniforms. I think that purple and gold is fantastic. But, you can't just pick a team based on their uniforms and hope that they do well. That would be silly, right? I don't know. But, the Western Conference, you have 2 teams tied for first place, and that is the Fleet and the Hot Shots. And then you have 2 teams tied basically for the bottom, it looks like, with the Commanders and the Stallions at 1-2. Except the Stallions are at the very bottom, so might be based on points. But we'll see what happens there. And then, of course, the Apollos and the Iron are at the top, and the Express and the Legends are at the bottom. So week 4, we have San Diego headed to Memphis, and that game will be on Bleacher Report Live, which I need to check out this Bleacher Report Live. It's another streaming service, I believe, that's out there, and I'll just add it to my repertoire of other sports things that I watch all the time. You've got Salt Lake City, Orlando coming to Salt Lake City at Rice-Eccles Stadium. They're in Salt Lake City, Utah. That'll be on NFL Network on the 2nd at 7 p.m. That's Central Standard Time. So anybody watching it on the West Coast, that would be like 5 o'clock your time. And then, of course, East Coast, it's 8 o'clock. So time zones are weird. I'm still getting used to the 2-hour time difference, and I've been here a few months already. San Antonio will be in Birmingham playing the Birmingham Iron. That's at Legion Field, so we'll see if Birmingham can keep up their streak of their three-game win streak going. Atlanta looking for a win against Arizona at Sun Devil Stadium. The Hot Shots, I think they could potentially be a really good team in the West. I think they'll probably continue to win. I would love to see the Stallions win, though, because that's just my personal preference. Looking good. I wanted to look at the summary real fast. I can't remember who was quarterbacking for the Stallions, but I would like to see Matt Linehan. Oh, Josh Woodrum. So he had 178 yards passing. And let's look at this. Sorry, I apologize. My phone is going off. He had a touchdown. Didn't throw an interception. He completed 71% of his passes, so good for Josh. I still want to see Matt Linehan play more because I'm biased, because I like the Idaho Vandal players. But that's not to say that Josh Woodrum isn't good. I know this league is plagued by certain things. People think that the quarterback play isn't great and whatnot, and I get that. I mean, I understand people's feelings towards that. You want to watch you're wanting to watch guys that supposedly could play professional football, but people need to get past that. And I think give the league a chance to succeed. And it's just like anything, give it a chance to succeed and see where it goes. If it doesn't succeed, then maybe you retool it and bring it back and fix it that way. I don't know. That's just me giving my 2 cents on the whole thing. But I like having football right now this time of the month. I mean, it's good. Of course, the combine's going on, which we'll talk about that a little bit too. And kind of see, I know that I think it starts up tomorrow. There in Indianapolis. But yeah, I'm hoping that the two Cougs, Gardner Minshew and Andre Dillard, have a good draft. I know they've been saying that Dillard's probably a first-round draft pick in the offensive line. I would love Seattle to trade for him because we need some offensive line help in Seattle. But wherever they go, I'll root for them no matter what, unless it's the New England Patriots. I don't like the Patriots. That's just me. If you're learning about this show for the first time, or if you're watching on YouTube, I don't like the Patriots. That's just plain and simple. And we'll talk about that a little bit briefly. Robert Kraft. That was interesting. But yeah, NFL-wise, I mean, there's not a whole lot going on. It's that time of the year where it's kind of like, oh, it's draft or combine season and draft season. There's not a whole lot going on, but we're going to find out where some free agents go. Does Antonio Brown get traded? Does he go to San Francisco like everybody thinks? I don't know. I think he'll go wherever the money is because he wants to be paid like he deserves to be. But no, I think it's good to have a little football, like I was saying with the AAF. Kind of keeps you focused on what's going on NFL wise, or in the mindset of, hey, football's still here, and that's a good thing, So we'll see. But of course, the big news in football is Robert Kraft got in trouble for doing some things he probably shouldn't have been doing, and I understand, Robert. You just want some love. But you're looking for love in all the wrong places in Florida. Why would you do that, Robert? You're a dynasty. You have a dynasty, man. And you tarnishing the dynasty. I don't know if this tarnishes the dynasty, but I don't think it looks good for the Patriots. And of course, Robert Kraft, I'm a big soccer person. He is part of an owner of the New England Revolution. So I think that doesn't look good. But we'll see. I mean, at this point, he hasn't gone to trial and all this stuff, and innocent until proven guilty, but I just don't think it looks good. So we'll see. We'll kind of see where that goes. So, but you win a Super Bowl, man, and this is happening. Robert, what are you doing, man? But so that's basically my football talk. For those who might be checking this show out on YouTube, or have never listened to this show, I do things a little differently. I don't talk a whole lot. I mean, I try to keep my show to at least 30 minutes or so. Now that, we're using Time Spent Poorly's YouTube page and everything, it's nice to kind of have another platform to put that show out. So I know this time frame might be kind of hard for people to watch, but it was the only time I had. I might try to work something out a little more generalized. I'm hoping, I can get people to come in and watch and interact, because that's what ultimately I want. I want to be able to interact with people, get their feedback, and have a conversation about sports. And because that's what I enjoy. That's why I wanted to do this, is because I like to talk, and I like to talk about sports. So I thought it would be a cool idea, and thanks to Ward, for letting me use the YouTube as a way to kind of put the channel out there. So, but I'll talk a little bit more at the end of the show about Time Spent Poorly and everything. So if you're confused as to why, like if I posted it on Facebook, why my show is live on Time Spent Poorly, it's because I'm part of that network. And so we'll talk more of that, but we'll get into the big news. I talked about it last week. Manny Machado, 10 years to the Padres, and now big news out of Denver, out of the Rockies organization, which is my National League team that I root for. Nolan Arenado just got paid big time, and he made a lot of money. He got 8 years, $260 million from the Colorado Rockies. And that's good. I think that's a good move. He does have the option after 3 years to I think either they can opt out or he can opt out of the deal. But we'll see what happens. I think it's a smart move, and now it kind of puts the heat on Bryce Harper because he still doesn't have a team right now. But there's rumors that the Phillies have been talking to him in Las Vegas. The Phillies really want him. I'm really surprised he didn't want to go back to the Nationals, but I get it. It's where the money is. You go where the money is. But good for Nolan, and I'm excited to see the Rockies keeping a very, very good third baseman. He's won a lot. He's won a couple Gold Gloves. I think he's won more than a couple Gold Gloves, but he's a solid all-around player. He's very deserving, I believe, of that money, and I think that's a good move for the Rockies. I know I believe they extended their manager as well, so that's another good move. So the Rockies are always kind of right there on the cusp of the playoffs. These last couple of years, it seems like. I know they lost DJ LeMahieu, or JD LeMahieu. I can't remember. I think it was DJ. He went elsewhere, and so it's kind of finding those pieces. I believe they still have Charlie Blackmon, who he's great. He hits dingers. I'm a big fan of dingers. If you ever follow me on Facebook, I posted an entire video of spring training dingers this year. Because nothing screams baseball than hitting a dinger or a K, strikeouts. But yeah, we are getting close to the Mariners heading to Tokyo, Japan, where they're going to open the season. I believe it's against the Oakland Athletics. I am behind on my. Yes, so that's spring training. I don't want spring training. Excuse me. Oh my! I shouldn't really yawn while I'm on TV. Not on TV, on YouTube. I was watching YouTube TV earlier. Let's see here. I can't remember when that starts. It's sometime soon. They'll open the season in Tokyo at the Tokyo Dome. They're gonna play 2 games. And it's been fun to watch the pitching staff here kind of take shape a little bit. Dan Altavilla threw a pitch and a guy swung at it. It went between his legs. That was awesome. And you get to see Yusei Kikuchi for the first time, and he did some pretty good work. I think he did 2 innings and he had 3 strikeouts. But of course the hitting. I mean, Kyle Lewis hit a home run. Okay, so they play the Athletics starting the 20th and 21st in Tokyo, Japan. So from what I understand with that whole thing is, and I listened to another podcast, and it's actually a really good podcast if you're into the Mariners. The GM, Jerry DiPoto, who I have a love-hate relationship with right now, trades away a lot of my favorite players, including James Paxton, Edwin Diaz, Gene Segura, all these guys, trades them away. I dislike him for that. But I do like him for the fact that he is kind of planning for the future. I get that. But they're going to have to, so from what I understand from when I was listening to him and Aaron Goldschmidt talk, they are going to take a certain amount of players with them to Tokyo, and then they're going to have a certain amount stay behind and continue to play spring training games while the main core team is going to be in Tokyo. So that's kind of an interesting thing, and I think it'll be fun because you'll get to see probably what's going to be the core starting lineup for the Mariners. In that, you'll see, your main starting pitchers, your main infielders, outfielders, that type of thing. And I think that's a good solid, it's a good solid gauging point for the team. But I'm hoping, opening day starter, I would love to see Yusei Kikuchi pitch that first game in Tokyo. I think for the Mariners itself, having him on there is a huge deal. and I think it brings a lot of notoriety and advertisement to the Mariners. And I mean, they've had that in the past because they were owned by Nintendo there for a while. And Ichiro's played on the team, and I know Ichiro is more than likely, he's on a guest, I think like a guest player type thing right now, but he'll more than likely play because for the Mariners to have Ichiro and Yusei Kikuchi on the same field in their home country, I think that's going to be big for them. So I would love to see him be the the first game pitcher, and of course Marco Gonzalez. Those are my two favorites right now out of this pitching, the starting pitching rotation. But we'll see. You still have Roenis Elias, you've got Marco, you've got Felix, you've got Wade, you've got Mike Leake. I think Mike Leake's going to have a big year this year too. You've got a lot of different starting pitchers. Max Povsey, I think I screwed up his name. Ricardo Sanchez is there. He's younger though. I don't think he'll start right away, but I'm hoping they'll take Justice Sheffield. He had a good outing recently as well. But we'll kind of get a feel for that. Since we last talked to, it looks like the Mariners have added a couple of catchers as well. They had David Freitas and Omar Narvaez, and they've added Jose Lobaton and Dean Navarez, and they've also added Austin Nola and Cal Raleigh. So that's a little bit of a different feel. We've got Dustin Ackley in the outfield. We'll probably see Tim Beckham go on the field. In Japan, J.P. Crawford will probably play shortstop. I believe he's our only shortstop right now. So we'll get to see some guys in spring training probably while they're gone fill those holes, and we could find another shortstop out there. Outfield-wise, I mean, Jay Bruce will definitely probably play on the Japan team. Mitch Haniger will as well. I would love to see Jared Kelenic go and play. He'll probably stay behind. Kyle Lewis, I would love to see him finally, get to start for the Mariners, but he's probably still a couple years or a year out of being on this team. We've got Domingo Santana, Alex Smith, of course, Ichiro. So there's a lot of different depth there for the Mariners in the outfield and in the infield. I mean, of course, we've got our core, I think, already figured out. You're going to probably have D. Gordon at second, Ryan Healy at first. I would love to. I'm pretty sure Edwin's going to play DH, Edwin Encarnacion, unless they trade him before then. But he is 36. Shed Long. I would love to see Shed Long play like shortstop or even be the backup second baseman. That guy has some power. He's young. What else? Kyle Seager will play third, and you've got Daniel Vogelbach too. He can flip between first base and DH, and he hit a big home run, I believe, today too. So just because I know it's spring training and it's not something to get super excited about, but there's always that chance that dingers are going to happen. And then the Mariners have been hitting pretty well in spring training. I mean, they're 3-2 right now in spring training, which is good. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm having a positive outlook, and I want to continue to have a positive outlook on the Mariners continuing to win. So, hopefully this is the year. I mean, the pitching staff looks good, but we'll see. I mean, we're still early. We've still got to get to the 20th of March to get through it. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see when we get there, but I'm excited to see what lineup we take with us to Japan and where we go from there. Maybe we'll make some moves because that's what Jerry Dipoto likes to do. He likes to make a lot of moves, and it showed this offseason. So we'll see how all those moves pay off. I know he's mentioned that it's not a right away thing. It's still a longer term of rebuild, I guess. So we'll see how things go there. But we'll move on. I'm going to give an update real quick. on some hockey because I am wearing. You can't really see it, but I'm wearing. I'm gonna roll myself back here. I'm wearing a Cedar Rapids Rough Riders shirt. Really good minor league hockey team here in Cedar Rapids. They were up 5-1 at one point in this match against the Green Bay Gamblers, and they pulled off a 5-4 win. So they kind of let it get away from them there. But good for the Rough Riders. I believe that they're on a bit of a win streak. I would have to look and see how many games that they've won so far. That's pretty impressive. I think it's like 4 or 5 straight games that they've won. 7. No, is that right? 7? Yeah, they're on a 7-game win streak. So good for the Rough Riders. I was going to go to a game on Sunday, but there's something else that takes more precedence to that, and I'll get to that as we get a little bit further here in the show. But I'm going to give you a brief NBA update. I don't watch a lot of NBA basketball. If you listen to this show, I follow it. I just don't watch a lot of basketball. I'm just not a big basketball person because my team doesn't really exist. I mean, they exist in the form of another team, which I've mentioned that before in other episodes. I am a Supersonics fan. For those of you that may just be listening for the first time, they are the Oklahoma City Thunder, which good for them, whatever. I'm very opinionated about that. Don't get me going on that. But we'll talk about, NBA. I do root for 2 teams in the same conference, same division. I'm pretty sure it's the same division too, which is ridiculous. I should really find a new team and pick out of that. Have one on the East and one on the West, but I can never figure it out. But the Milwaukee Bucks still leading 2-game lead on the Toronto Raptors in the East, and then you've got the Denver Nuggets is one of the teams I root for, and the Portland Trail Blazers. Both are in playoff spots. So the Nuggets are at the 2nd seed. The Blazers are in the 4th seed in the West. So good for them. The Lakers are, not great. They're behind the Sacramento Kings right now. Does LeBron's influence start taking over and starts, do the Lakers start spending some money come next year if they don't make the playoffs this year? Who knows? We'll find out. But it's LeBron James. He kind of gets whatever he needs for that team. So, but the Nuggets are doing great. They're on a 5-game win streak, as are the Blazers. So good to see both of those teams winning the games they need to. I think a game just ended. Portland won today, so they won 97-92. Boston has lost. Okay, they played the Celtics. Excuse me. Boston has their first 4-game losing streak of the season. Damian Lillard put up 33 points. Good job, Dame. He's an animal. I love him. He's a great player. But yeah, so I mean, we'll kind of see where past the All-Star break, and now it's all kind of downhill from there. The Phoenix Suns are terrible as well, and the New York Knicks are terrible. So we'll see who is going to get the first pick next year. The Bulls are also really bad, and the Memphis Grizzlies are not doing great, and the Dallas Mavericks aren't either. And it's kind of sad because I wanted to see Dirk Nowitzki go out kind of on top, I guess. I mean, he's won an NBA title, which is good. So we'll see how that plays out for the rest of the season. Of course, we'll keep updates as we go along of where everybody's kind of sitting. Let's see what else. We had the trade deadline in hockey. I have to go back and look. There were some big trades. I know Columbus got some players. Not a lot of teams made. I mean, there was some trades made, but I'd have to go back in and look and see who made deals. I know Matt Duchene used to play for the Colorado Avalanche, if you don't watch hockey. And they traded him to Ottawa, and I think Ottawa traded him to Columbus? I could be wrong here. Yeah, Columbus Blue Jackets. So the Blue Jackets got they added Matt Duchene and Ryan Zingle, but they traded they traded a first. Yeah, they traded a lot of picks. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of different trades. I saw a really good sheet breaking down all the trades, and I lost it on the internet. I should have saved it. That wasn't smart on my part. But, NHL trade deadline happened, came and went. Some teams made some moves, and some didn't. The Jets, the Winnipeg Jets got Alex Broadhurst. Chris Weidman went to the Penguins. From the Florida Panthers. Pat Par Lindholm, he went from the Maple Leafs to the Jets. Where I don't know. Those are kind of the. Linus Karlsson went to the Canucks. The Canucks traded Jonathan Deline. There's just a lot of trades, and I know there were some big ones. But you can check them out online. I mean, there's a lot to go on there. And I'm not well versed in hockey. I'm still kind of learning the whole thing. But right now the Avalanche are up to 1 on the Vancouver Canucks. In Denver, it looks like, or they might be in Vancouver. I've got to remember how that works. But let's see where. So the Avalanche are still at the bottom in the Central Division. If we're looking at it conference-wise, excuse me, it is almost 10 o'clock here, so I'm a little tired. They're sitting, I think they're sitting out of a playoff spot, but they're working their way back. They're on a one-game losing streak. They had a pretty good win streak there for a while. They rattled off some wins and kind of got what they needed out of those wins. So I think for them, it kind of puts them back kind of in the right track. They're 3 games above where they need to be safe. They're 27, 24, and 12. They've lost 12 in overtime, which is not good, but what can you do? Calgary still leads the West with 89 points, and in the East, it looks like Tampa Bay is ahead of Boston. It's 102 points to 83 points. So, and Ottawa is terrible. They are down at the bottom. They have lost 36 games. So I can see why they trade away a bunch of stuff to get some good players and some good draft picks for the next draft. So, and of course, MLS. We're going to kind of wind the show down a little bit. And then I meant to give picks earlier for the AAF. So I'm going to give those at the end, and then I'll give a little talk about that. But MLS starts Saturday. That is the more pressing matter than going to a hockey game. Is my Seattle Sounders are opening their 10th season of MLS play at home against the new team to the league, Cincinnati FC. I've talked about that before. So it's been crazy. I didn't realize that 10 years had caught up. For those of you that might listen and know me, I'm a huge soccer person, and I actually lived in Seattle during that first professional season. The Sounders have been around since the 70s, I think. And they played in the USL for a long time, and then came to the MLS in 2009. But I was at the first game back in March of 2009, and it was fun. I was a college student. I bought a ticket, didn't think I was going to get one. I paid probably $70 that a college student didn't have, but somehow I managed to get $70. I may have asked my mom for money, so Mom, if you're watching or listening, thanks for fueling my soccer addiction. But that was kind of the jumping off point. I went to a game. I listened to the hype and, jumped on board of the Sounders when I had very little knowledge. I did some research about the USL, and it kind of got me into the mood of let's root for it. And I was already watching English Premier League soccer on TV when I could as well. And I root for Chelsea in England, a couple other teams too, and like Germany and all that. But that's another thing I can talk about at some other time. But that was kind of, the journey of, and thinking back to the games I've been to and the people I've met that are Sounders fans. And it's like here I have, found out that I have a friend that enjoys the Seattle Sounders. And so I think he's going to come watch the game. And I'm finding out that there's a supporters group for the Emerald City Supporters, which is the main supporters group of the Sounders. You see them on TV if you've ever watched a game. They put the big TIFO banners and everything. Out here in the Midwest, very good group of people that I'm learning. Just joined their group. They're called the Heartland Horde. So it's kind of fun to see that the growth of the team and the growth of the fandom, and how, I don't know any of these people, and they're great people, and, we engage in conversation. Like, Sounders just announced their new jerseys. They're this pink color. It's an interesting jersey, and I posted, I didn't know if I really enjoyed the jersey, and I have had lots of comments on that post, and from people I have never met that are scattered throughout the heartland of the United States right now, from Iowa to Montana down to Missouri and Kansas City and Oklahoma and all of those places, and even further, Chicago and Minnesota and everybody. So it's nice to see that there's a very big community involved with soccer as well. It's kind of like, in England, you've got your cities and you've got supporters all over the world. And I know there's Sounders supporters all over the world as well, too. So it'll be interesting to see. I know we've made some moves. We waived a defender or a midfielder to bring in another defender, which I think is a good move. I can't remember his name, but it'll be good for us to have an extra defender going into it. But I'm hoping for a win. We're pretty good in opening games. I don't know that we've lost an opener since we've started, but we tend to seem to be the team that wants to open the season. And that's good. I mean, I love that it's on TV. I don't get to watch a lot of games out here now that I'm not really in the Sounders market anymore. I'm in more of Minnesota and Chicago, and Kansas City's market. So I'll get to see them when they play on ESPN. Of course, I'll follow the games on my phone and on the internet and everything as well. So, but that season starts up soon. So you'll get a full review from me either next week. So we might move the shows. I usually do shows on Tuesdays. I might move this show to Tuesday night because I know the sports program, I have to remember to say the sports program, does a Wednesday show and they do their Saturday show. This was just kind of convenient for me, being as I had to work this morning early. But yeah, so this is a new thing. I'm hoping the YouTube thing works out. My background, if you're listening on phone, you can't see my background. But I'm going to work on maybe putting up a backdrop or something here to kind of block out the things that are behind me here. But as I was saying before, I need to make picks on the AAFL so I can count those for the week, and then I got to write them down so I don't forget to submit them to Trevin. So I'm going to make those picks here live on the podcast and on YouTube. So I'm just waiting for the screen to load up because I forgot what the schedule was for next week. So Memphis and San Diego, I'm gonna take San Diego on that one, just because they're looking a little better, but they are at home. I don't know. I'm gonna take San Diego on that one. So SD. I'm gonna take Salt Lake City at home. They showed that they can win at home, so that's a good thing. I'm gonna take Birmingham at home, and I think I'm gonna take Arizona at home too. So I'm taking pretty much almost all the home teams except San Diego. So San Diego, Salt Lake City, Birmingham, and Arizona are my picks for the next week. Like I said before, big thank you to Ward for letting me use the Time Spent Poorly YouTube page to kind of get this show out there. we'll see how this goes. I could keep this a regular thing. But shows will probably come on Tuesdays. We might do those Tuesday evenings. But please listen. Continue to listen on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, all those places that if you listen to podcast. If you do listen to the show, please go on iTunes. We do appreciate the ratings. It helps get the show out there. When we have a lot of different shows on our network, which is the Time Spent Poorly Network, which you can watch the Basement Boys 2 podcast on this channel live. You can also watch Friendish on here live. Great show, great podcast. We've also got the sports program on TSPN. I believe they do their live shows on Facebook on Saturdays and on Wednesdays. We also have Human Guides with Peter Brill, Hangin' 10 with Cameron, and Stranger Show are all kind of our shows on the network. So if you don't like sports, we got a lot of different things. But check out a show. Check us all out on any of those platforms. Again, thank you to Ward for letting me use the YouTube page today. We'll try to continue it next week, but continue to listen. Any feedback, great. You can follow me on Twitter, my personal one, which I get a little heated sometimes on there, is at XAndrewKX, or you can follow the show itself at King Sports TSPN. So that is all I've got for this week. I apologize for the scratching noise. My cat is being a jerk outside the door. So with that said, thanks for listening. This has been another episode. This is episode 20. So I hit another milestone. I think 20 is a good number too. Maybe I'll just mail it in after that. We'll call it good. 1 episode on YouTube. 20 episodes on the other thing. I think we'll call it good. I'm just kidding. We'll be back next week. So thank you very much. Watch some sports. Watch the MLS opener. Give soccer a chance. That's all I gotta say. Give the AAF a chance. Watch golf if you have to. NASCAR's back. You can watch that too. But baseball's coming up. That's what I'm getting excited for. So with that said, thank you for listening or for watching. I will see you back here next week. Probably on Tuesday, my normal time, unless my work schedule is different, but I may do an evening show that day. But keep an eye out on Facebook, on my personal Facebook, or you might be able to find it on the Time Spent Poorly page as well. But definitely follow King Sports at TSPN for all that stuff when I go live. And I didn't really post it there today, so if anybody followed me there, sorry. I forgot to put it on Twitter, but yeah, find it there. Find it all over the place. So we are on the World Wide Webs. timespentpoorly.fun. So check us all out. Enjoy the show. Find something you like. Give us feedback. We appreciate that. So with that said, I am going to finally end this. I like to keep talking, but thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy sports this weekend, and have a great, great evening.